Hello beekeepers! Jake here, the beekeeper, and in today's video I'm going to be going over the cheapest swarm traps available. Yes, these are the cheapest because if you go to buy a swarm trap it costs like $25 to however many dollars, and so I'm making these for like cheap, super cheap. If you're new to this channel, don't forget to subscribe, that's down below. Turn on notifications so you can see the 2 videos I post every week on beekeeping. Now this here is the very first step to getting swarms. Now if you don't know what a swarm is, a swarm, if you're new to beekeeping and you want to catch free bees, you can catch a swarm. Well, a swarm is where someone has a beehive and it gets too crowded, or they have a problem with beetles, or it gets too hot, and so those bees get up and they leave and they go to whoever's box is better. That's how you catch a swarm. So if you set out the perfect swarm trap for the bees, when they don't like this area, they all get up and they all move to the area that they like. So you're pretty much just getting free bees. And who doesn't want something that's just free? This is the very first step. So what I'm going to do, if you're watching this video right now, the day I post it, you have 1 week to get ready, and I'll show you step by step on how we go from nothing to a swarm trap that's ready to catch bees. Now, if you haven't seen my Rewind to 2019, I'll leave a link up there or the video on how I started beekeeping. You'll see that how I started was catching swarms. We caught up to 6 swarms last year. So my success rate is high. Not bragging or anything, but yeah, I did pretty great at catching swarms. So I'm going to show you the tips that I used to catch them, starting with a bare flower pot and going from a full flower pot full of bees. The first thing we're going to do is wash out these flower pots. So I got these flower pots from a friend of mine that just had some flower pots laying around. He actually sold them to me for $1 each. So I bought 3 of them. He asked me what I was going to use them for, and I was like, I'm going to use them to catch a swarm. Now, if I could have got different swarm traps, I would have got white ones. Now, why would I get white swarm traps? Well, I'll explain it to you in a second. So all I'm going to do right now is wash out the swarm traps with little soapy water to get all the grime off of them, to kill the smell, anything that could repel the bees. I'm getting it off of the swarm trap. Now we're gonna let those dry, and after they dry, you'll see the next step. Okay, now the next step, we're just gonna paint them. Now, if you have black swarm traps, these are 20 to 25, I think they're 20 gallon flower pots. Okay, and if you get them white, that's great. If you get them black, you will have to paint them, because we're catching swarms in the heat, in the hottest part of the year. So you're gonna want the sun to repel, as you're gonna want your trap to repel the most heat that it can. Today I'm showing you, this is the second step. The first step of this was washing them, just to get the sand and stuff off. Second step is painting them, but you can completely avoid these steps by just buying white pots. Now, why would I be using white pots? Because we're setting swarm traps in the middle of the hottest part of the year, and when the bees start to overheat, then and then they want to leave. So if you have a white swarm trap, it repels the heat and stuff like that. So that's why I'll be putting a white coat of paint on these, just so that they reflect the heat, and then we'll move to the next step. Okay. Now that this step is done, I'm going to give you guys 1 week. If you're watching this video and wanting to catch swarms, if you watch this the day I post it, I'm going to give you guys 1 week to buy yourself some white 20-gallon pots, and next week I'm going to show you the next step, which will be bait these things and seal them up, and then the week after that I'm going to show you some tips on how to hang your traps. So you guys got 1 week to get some 20-gallon pots, and next see